Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of New to Weeaboo. This is number 118 from March 6th, 2024. I am Nemesis. I am joined by Alcatraz.
Hello.
Yes, a couple things happened the last couple weeks, including one that's just like, oh, cool, we got great timing, because last time we talked about Suzume. Oh, hey, by the way, a producer on that movie, plus several other Makoto Shinkai's movies, was arrested for child porn.
Yeah, and solicitation.
Yeah, and solicitation.
Soliciting minors. Yeah.
Yeah. So fun times.
Great.
That's it's a great. This is that news broke literally the day after we released that episode. It's like, yeah, we got the most amazing timing.
Fortunately, it wasn't.
Yeah,
Makoto Shinkai himself.
Yeah, but still,
that really sucked. But
not ideal.
Yeah.
Not ideal.
Not ideal.
That's putting it lightly.
Yeah.
But in lighter news, McDonald's is doing some anime production thing and becoming WickDonald's because of how a lot of anime, parodies McDonald's. So that's a whole thing right now.
Yo, I'm curious. I saw this posted once and I was like, yeah, that probably makes a lot of sense. How you want to bet a lot of reason they're doing this is just possibly to stop a lot of the anime from using it as copyright infringement.
I don't think so.
To not infringement, so they can get around copyright, because now they can claim copyright on WickDonald's, on the name WickDonald's.
I don't think it's gonna work. It's one of those. It's too embedded. It's one of those things you can't.
Prior art kind
it's
of
one
thing.
Of those things.
It's one of those.
I don't think they do that.
And also, the prior art thing is very much a U.S. copyright thing. I don't know how it would work over in Japan, but it's interesting to say the least.
Regardless, so that's become a thing. Crunchyroll just had their anime awards. Jujutsu Kaisen swept like everything, despite maybe not necessarily deserving it, but hey.
Everyone who's ever talked to me about Jujutsu Kaisen has always loved it and recommended it.
Well, yeah. Like, I'm pretty sure Jujutsu Kaisen is probably fine. I mean, I've been planning to watch it for a while anyway, but I just want Bochi to win.
Yeah, I don't have a huge amount of stake in it.
Yeah, and the other thing which Crunchyroll involved, which is they kind of confirmed that they are in fact doing some testing with AI for translations.
Yep.
Thankfully, at this point, it's testing. Which doesn't mean they're going to, but let's be real.
Anyway.
There's some executive somewhere in Sony or Crunchyroll that's going to be like, this will save us like 3 cents every year. Or find out, actually, no, it won't. It'll actually cost you more because now you have to bring in another translator to, fix everything.
Yeah, so what you got to do
fix all the problems.
Yeah, so exactly. What you do is you have your AI do your automatic translation, and then you have to bring someone in to fix the translation and proofread it. But in order to be able to properly proofread it, they have to be completely fluent in both languages, so you've basically undermined yourself. You have to have a translator anyway. You have to,
yeah, they're going to make sure it's fine. They're also going to have to look at the original Japanese anyway, so just congratulations.
Or they just don't, and we just get horrible subtitles.
Yeah, because some
people already get upset with Crunchyroll for this.
Because I know, well, that's the part. One thing they're getting upset about is they're making it woke, which is like, well, congratulations, you idiots! You got your literal translations. Are you happy? You're getting your literal translations now. Hell, wow, these really suck.
Yep.
Maybe literal translations aren't the way to go.
AI can't even give you a proper literal translation.
Yeah, but it's going to be closer than most localization, because localization actually makes it,
yeah, you translate
listenable and readable.
But the AI ones won't even, because again, to even do a translation, it's just, you need more than what an AI can do. Yeah. At least what those kind of AIs can do. It's just horrible.
Regardless, it's just all it's also going to do is just make things take longer, because they have to realize, oh crap, everyone complains the subtitles suck or whatever, and then they have to bring in someone to fix them, and then they fix them like months later. It's like, oh hey, yeah, they finally fixed the subtitles. Oh, I already gave up on that show.
Yeah.
Or people, of course, well, I'm just going to cancel my Crunchyroll sub, because what's the point? The fan subs are now actually better because they don't sound like garbage.
Yeah.
Even though they're probably still not great, but they're better than the AI garbage.
Yep.
But yep, got to chase that inevitable, infinite growth.
Yeah. Yep.
I don't know if Sony or Crunchyroll, I don't know who's mandating it, but some stupid executive's doing it because we got to save a couple extra bucks every year, potentially save a couple dollars. Well, I suspect that it's going to cost them more in the long run, but
short-term quarterly gains.
Yep. Capitalism.
Yeah.
Not broken.
It's a little broken.
It's a lot broken.
It's a little broken, yeah.
So there they are. That's some of the news that popped up.
The news.
Yeah, that's really stinks. Oh yeah, the other thing about the Crunchyroll is in that same interview with the AI thing, they also said that they're going to try to compensate people for the lost digital copies from Funimation. They didn't say what it is, but there's going to be some sort of compensation. I would not surprise me if it's like, oh, here's a couple free months of Crunchyroll.
Exactly. Yeah, or a coupon or something, something like that.
It's going to be that, and it's like just give me money then.
No,
just give me money.
No, if you're going to get any sort of money, it's going to be like store credit.
Yeah, it's going to be store
you have
credit.
to use it back with credit. That way they don't actually lose anything. It doesn't actually cost them anything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, well.
Again, capitalism.
Really. Anyway, we're here to talk about stuff that's actually not on Crunchyroll. We're here to talk about Transformers car robots. Because, yeah, I think I've said a couple times, I've been trying to figure out how to get Transformers on this show because there are Transformers anime. Quite a few. Actually, there's 11 that you can definitively call anime without any weird gray areas.
Right. So
there's a lot to choose from. I was like, which one do we start with? And I went with car robots because a couple reasons. One, it's actually a fairly easy series to get into because, when it was made, it was not really connected to anything. It's just kind of its own thing. No, it's not a sequel to anything like, Headmasters is, for example. It's not, part of a larger trilogy like, say, Micron Legends. And it doesn't have a bad reputation like Transformers Go. The other reason is right now has the HasLab. The for Omega Prime is a thing, and Omega Prime is from Robots in Disguise, which was the localization of Car Robots. So I've got Robots in Disguise on my mind, so let's do that.
Let's do that.
Car Robots came out in 2000, I believe. It came out in 2000, and it was, most people know it as Robots in Disguise. Yes, it came out in spring of 2000. So yeah, it's at this point is just shy of 24 years old. Which, wow, yeah. And this one is, like I said, a standalone. And, it's about, the Autobots versus, not Autobots, because, again, it's the whole thing. The Cybertrons versus the Destrongers.
Destrongers.
Because, yeah, usually it's, in Japan, it's not Autobots and Decepticons, it's Cybertrons and Destrons. And here they're the Destrongers. But they also use the Predacon symbol from Beast Wars.
Yep.
Until we get, the Combatrons, who are vehicles, but they use an upside-down G2 Autobot symbol. Don't worry about it. That was also because I didn't want to waste money remolding the old Laser Optimus Prime mold.
Yep. Yep.
But anyway.
Shortcuts.
Yep. So that's what it is. You got Fire Convoy, the leader of the Cybertrons here, and Gigatron, the leader of the Destrongers. Gigatron is trying to take over the universe, and the Cybertrons are also trying to, and including there's something on Earth he wants, and the Cybertrons are trying to stop him. That's the show.
Yep.
There actually is a plot to it, but it takes a backseat for a really long time before it comes back.
It does.
This is also one of the shows where it's very much a lot goofier than a lot of the other ones. There's a very much a goofy kind of slapstick thing going on throughout the whole thing. So it's not very serious. It's not dark and serious. It's very silly and goofy, and there you go.
Yeah.
So before I get more in depth on my opinions,
because you're going to talk a lot about
what
this.
What are your opinions?
What are my opinions on this one? So, as an overall, it was relatively enjoyable. I'm not jumping for joy over it. It's definitely a product of its target audience.
For its target, yeah.
But it's fairly well done. You mentioned the plot that got put away, and yeah, it's kind of interesting. I felt it definitely got better in the second half, as it started focusing more on it's okay, there's actually something going on here, and we're going to have a series of things connected to themselves instead of how it started, which kind of quickly turned into MacGuffin of the Day, which can get old real quick. And it was starting to, but I think they caught that, and that's when things started to switch over. But yeah, it is really goofy. It's definitely a show that's targeted towards
kids.
Kids. It's for kids.
It's definitely for kids. I'm not going to beat around the bush. It is for 10-year-olds.
Yeah,
but
it's for kids. It's for preteens.
Yeah, I mean, preteens are a bit old. Because the way Transformers is, they kind of aim more towards like 8 to 10 years old.
Yeah. That's it. You can definitely tell.
Yeah. That's not necessarily bad.
It's not bad. They do it well.
We both had very much kind of obsessed over a show for young children for a long time. So, like, we have no room to talk.
I can't say, how dare you watch a show for kids? No one does that. No one, right?
Right.
Just don't look at
how many of you watch Yu-Gi-Oh and still watch Yu-Gi-Oh?
Don't look at the collection of things I have.
How many of you still watch Yu-Gi-Oh? How many of you still watch Naruto? No, it's also with children.
Yes. I mean, most anime is aimed at teenagers anyway.
But yeah, so yes, you said it's not particularly amazing or anything. It's my thing. It's not bad.
It's not bad.
It's not great. It's pretty decent for it's all right, and it's just kind of one of those. It's a goofy, fun romp, and that's pretty much what you're getting. It's just a goofy, fun romp.
Yeah, don't expect like
it's not high art.
Don't expect high art or some serious thought provoking.
Yeah, there's nothing particularly amazing. There's nothing particularly deep here. It's just it's one of those you just kind of. I would recommend not going super binge watchy actually like we did because it can get on you. Particularly, the middle can really wear on you.
Yeah, I'll admit that I was going through at 1.28 speed.
Yeah, it can wear on you a little bit, but you kind of actually can divide it into 3 distinct sections because it was essentially it's that weird thing of it's 1 season but it's 3 seasons long because of how seasons work.
Yeah,
you basically got the first chunk, which is all the character in the initial introductions. You got the middle chunk, which is largely weirdly just very standalone episodes. Very much like there's like no central plot really, except for a kind of very vaguely pops up at like the very end of it. Then you got the final chunk, which is basically the main plot. We're actually, finishing it off and building to the climax, right?
Right, yeah.
And that's what it is. Yeah, so the big thing about it is, in the first episode, Gigatron captures a scientist. And the big thing is the scientist is, what was it? Astroarchaeologist, I think it was?
Something like that.
Yeah. And the whole thing is he, like, really specializes in particular, basically, aliens, essentially, and their interactions with, like, potential ancient civilizations and whatnot. That's his thing. Dr. Onishi, I think.
Yep, Onishi.
Yeah. Gigatron kidnaps him, and then Koji's left behind, and he where he winds up hanging out with the Cybertrons, particularly with Fire Convoy and whatnot. And I guess a lot of times with Speedbreaker. So anyway, he went around the world looking for such, because they were looking, one of the things is they're looking for O parts.
O parts.
Yeah, O parts, which is actually a real thing. A lot of people don't realize this, including
Really?
people who actually translate the robots and guys. O parts is an actual real thing. Well, it's a real, I won't say it's necessarily a real thing, it's a real terminology I'll use outside of this show. It stands for out of place artifact.
Oh.
It's brought up a lot for basically to kind of prove, basically, see, this artifact shouldn't be here. It should be clear across the world. Therefore, aliens. That sort of thing.
Right.
Like, why would you find this Egyptian thing in South America? Maybe, or might be, I don't know. That sort of thing. That's the idea. So, O parts is a real thing.
Why did this ninja have a fax machine?
Not to that degree, but but yeah, that's the idea.
I still just love that they existed at the same time.
Yeah. But that's kind of the idea. Is just O parts is a real thing. Just here, it's kind of clearly it's kind of the Transformers.
Yeah.
Because they've been here before and they buried a whole city to protect humanity. I guess there's the whole thing there. There's a whole thing, and there's literal like a thing about Fire Convoy constant goes on about burning spirit, which is just fun. It's that thing you see in anime where it's like a character gets stronger solely through willpower.
Yeah.
And
that's the burning spirit anime trope. It's a big trope used all over the place.
Is it bad? No, it's actually it can be really hype. You get that moment. It's stupid hype, and there are moments in the show which are kind of hype. Not a lot of them, mind you.
All the children, lend me your power.
Yeah, there are moments. And there are some like I think one of my favorite episodes actually was the one where they tried to knock over the building and then they wound up actually propping it up instead.
Oh yeah, that
one was really funny.
That one was funny.
And
Sharks.
The other thing. It's like, who's the best character and why is it Gel Shark?
I don't know if I would say Gel Shark is the best, but I can definitely see the appeal just because it's just. It's just kind of an idiot.
but he's lovable. And that's the whole thing of him. He actually winds up having this whole thing where he kind of
He's not cool though.
He's
the
not
cool ones obviously.
Oh, he's not cool.
Black Convoy is the coolest.
But
yeah.
One of the thing is just simply he kind of has those moments of doubt where he's like, he has those moments where he kind of he's not really that bad, is he?
Yeah, and the episode that you just mentioned, or
That's the first one where they really
was when he really started to happen because they started giving him praise for not.
What is this warm feeling? I don't.
Yeah,
I
but
understand.
it's also like, why are you praising him for holding it up? He's only holding up so he doesn't lose hostages.
But he doesn't know that. They don't know that.
I know, but it's also like he's the one who took it out in the first place.
But then he just if it
wasn't for him, you wouldn't.
And like at one point, like the end, he's like he kind of he talking to Gigatron, and he's like, but what about the humans might get hurt? He's like, I don't care.
Well, that was the whole.
Gigatron's like, you don't have to pretend to be good.
Yeah, he wasn't pretending.
Yeah,
he was starting to not pretend.
Yeah,
there is a bit of potential good to.
Yeah, the thing is they never really like redeem him or anything, but they don't. They kind of give him I guess a way out.
Yeah,
for a chance he has a chance to redeem himself, and that's pretty much how it ends, which is kind of nice actually.
Yeah, leaping into the sunset.
Mm-hmm.
I think at the very, very, very end.
Yeah. The thing is, it does the thing where, as the show goes on, they have to introduce more toys, so there's more characters, but thankfully it's not as ridiculous as G1, like, for example, got, because G1 was just constantly cycling through characters, because we gotta steal the toys, There weren't as many toys, so they didn't have to go as hard on that, so there was a little bit more room for the characters to breathe and grow and stuff, to a degree. Speedbreaker, for example, he kind of is frustrating sometimes because particularly with his whole chasing after red sports cars. Well, it's like, it's sports cars, haha, funny, but also it's like it does, it's like if he was actually it's like he is catcalling and stuff and towards women, and it's like it's not really, but it's the analog. It's like it is kind of across as it doesn't help that you got this human Junko. She's kind of the butt of the joke, which poor Junko. Just constantly just getting embroiled in this stuff, including finding out, your SUV there is actually a transformer. Oh.
Yep.
Which she actually takes off-roading, so she's actually using it right. You got, like, a lot of the characters are weirdly, like, you got little subgroups within the groups, which, you got the 3 Autobot car brothers, right?
Right.
They're kind of their own group. They're kind of fun. You got, of course, the Gel Shark and, like, Gas Skunk and Goosher and I can't remember the last one's name.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember the 3 of them.
Yeah, but those 4 have their own little group, and the problem is, of course, I'm looking at analysts, and of course, it's using the American.
It's using the American ones. I'm looking at that too. It's like
it doesn't help. Which a lot of people are going to know. Like they'll know those. They'll know those as Skybite, Slapper, Gas Skunk. He didn't change, and Darkscream. You got the little, and of course, you got the Shinkansen, JRX, the trains.
Yep.
You got the build team. They show up and they're weird, but they're kind of fun weird.
They can be fun, but they are kind of weird.
You got the Spy Changers.
The Spy Changers, who are also in this show.
They're like they get the least. They're like kind of the cool guys.
Yeah, they kind of show up like maybe 3 times.
A little more than that.
Something like that.
But then you had one episode which was very much focused on like Mirage and whatnot, but like barely, and that was pretty much all they got. They didn't really get a whole lot of actual.
They didn't
characterization. But they pretty much the only thing was like Mirage and I think it was it Prowl? Yeah. Or was it was Ironhide. Whatever.
Are those their?
Yeah, again, American. Well,
those are the American names.
I think some of those are actually all the Japanese names because again, they did reuse some of them, but
yeah.
But and then of course the Combatrons. We got Black Convoy.
Combatrons, not Combatrons.
Yeah, you got Black Convoy, and then you got the combining team, which is like Dorailer and whatnot, and Dangar, which is like supposed to be that's supposed to be danger. I'm willing to bet that's supposed to be danger, stuff like that. So 5 of them combine into Baldigus, which is
Baldigus. One thing that cracked me up every single time about Baldigus, the Ballbuster attack. It's just every time it's like, I'm 12 again. You said Ballbuster.
Yeah. The thing about them was like, their whole thing was like, okay, the Predacons, the Death Strongers are all like, they're like mostly beast things, right? And
Right.
like, well, we need to fight the Cybertrons on equal ground. So they find the Cybertron stasis pods and steal them, and then infuse it with Gigatron's evil energy aura and whatnot. Which is okay, sure. You do that, and then
That works,
so
right?
they scanned
That makes
those in.
sense.
The thing was with the Black Convoy there, with him, it was that they scanned a tanker truck and fire convoy, and well, they didn't mention this, but it's kind of obvious, which also Junko.
Also Junko.
So yeah, he becomes. Oh, he looks a lot like Convoy, and then starting the trend of the black repaint of Optimus.
Yep.
And also, there's one thing. But speaking of that character, who all those people kept telling me, oh, Scourge / Black, because his name is Scourge in U.S. Scourge Black Convoy. He's totally different from all the Nemesis Primes. He's actually a character and stuff. I was like, is he?
Here we go.
He's so much different. He's so much better. Because that's the thing. They always like talking about how he's so much better than all the Nemesis Primes and stuff, and it's like, he's the same character. He's the exact same thing. It's just an evil Optimus. There's really, I thought that was because everyone kept talking about how deep and compelling his character. I'm like, did we watch the same show? Did he come across as deep and compelling to you?
As deep
and compelling at all? Black Convoy.
Well, no. I mean, he seemed highly intelligent compared to everyone else.
Yeah, but he's not really. There's nothing
had
really.
Ulterior motives.
Yeah, we had the whole thing. He betrayed Gigatron, but that's kind of like villainy 101.
Yeah,
the subordinate always has
the apprentice.
There's always some traitorous subordinate. He's not. He's like he doesn't really have a huge character arc or anything.
No,
and hell, even when he did the whole betrayal thing, it was completely reset by Deus Ex Machina.
Yeah,
Deus Ex Gigatron.
Yeah, yeah. His motives were not like
he's just evil.
Yeah, he's just an evil Optimus.
Like if they had the whole thing, like I thought they were like going to do something because based on what people told me, I thought they were going to do something like because they scanned Convoy, like maybe he was going to have like internal conflict about.
Yeah, there was they tried to right after that. I think it was like the episode after they were made. I think they tried to push for it or something like that. They were trying to see if it was there.
Yeah,
and then there was the one where they tried to fake it
being good. Yeah.
To try and get in.
Because Fire Convoys has hope that maybe we can get through to them, maybe they can become a good again.
Yeah, find their Cybertron spirit.
Nope. But yeah, I was hoping maybe some sort of internal conflict, the good versus the evil inside, because of between Gigatron's evil energy and him being, a scan of Convoy.
It's
maybe
too deep for 8-year-olds.
I mean, it's not really that deep.
I know it isn't, but would be the thought process.
But I was hoping that maybe just there was something there because that's what I was told, that he was a compelling character, and it's like he's really not. If anything, one of the more compelling characters is like Skybite or / Gel Shark.
Gel Shark.
Like he's a far more compelling. He's the one who gets the whole internal moral conflict thing going on.
Yep.
Like because Black Convoy is cool.
He's cool,
but he's not particularly that deep.
No.
He's this whole, I feel like a lot of people just are trying to assign something that's not really there to justify a weird difference in their head between two characters pretty much the same.
The other one is, they really like Black Convoy and they want to make him seem bigger, or they make him bigger in their head because they really like the character.
I'm like, so when's the last time you actually watched this show? Because if it's been a while,
nostalgia goggles also is a thing.
Because as a funny thing also, because Nemesis Prime in Japan is called Black Convoy. In fact, the first time they called him Nemesis Prime in Armada, in Japan they called him Scourge. Just because that's just to muddle things, because they want to call him Scourge because in America they call it Black Convoy Scourge, so let's just honor that. Let's call him Scourge.
Yeah, but America only changed the name.
But ever since then, it's been Black Convoy, Nemesis Prime, Black Convoy, Nemesis Prime, depending on which region you're in.
Yep.
For me, it's just frustrating finding out, oh, hey, guess what? Everyone lied to me. You
lied to me.
You lied to me. It's like you told me, there's some cool things going on with this character, and no, not really.
This character up enough to use it as my own
that's
name.
Great. I would love it because I had way back when, before I even knew, but Robots in Disguise came out in the U.S. I had a Black Convoy because I imported it. It was my first import. My mom helped me buy it. My brother got Baldigus. So there is a bit of a nostalgia here, but I just had the toy. I had no reference to the character. And it's a really cool toy. It's a cool toy.
Yeah.
And then it's like, oh, he's just cool, I guess. He's cool, but there's nothing really there. He's cool, but shallow. That's it.
Yeah. He's smart.
I mean, I kind of see the relationship between him and crap, I can never remember the leader of the combat, the green one.
Oh, the
Combatrons.
green one.
Dole
Railer.
Railer.
Yeah, Dole Railer.
I know it's Dole something.
Yeah, Dole Railer. The double-barrel tank thing.
Yeah, I keep wanting to say Dole Ranger.
Yeah, Dole Ranger.
Yeah, I was like,
that's not right.
Yeah, but the recipe Black Convoy and Dole Railer is kind of like interesting because like the two of them, they feel like they have a bond that's like not like, it's a little different just because they actually like trust each other and like there's like a camaraderie there versus the others are just underlings. Like they don't get much. Whereas
Black Convoy is the leader of the Combatrons, but Black Convoy is not part of the same combining
it feels
group.
like they actually
so the Railer is the leader of one group. So it's
They feel like they have an actual. I was hoping maybe that would be explored a little bit more, but nah.
No.
That's the thing. I think my biggest frustration is really not a whole lot. It's like there is some characters who get more. Like Speedbreaker does get some degree of character, growth and characterization. Not a whole lot, but a little bit. Mock Alert kind of gets sidelined very easily. Wild Ride, again, he gets a little bit, but not a whole lot. But yeah, Gale Shark is Speedbreaker in particular get a whole lot of I think growth as a whole.
Yeah, I think those are until Black Convoy, it doesn't even show up. But Gale Shark is definitely like probably the main quote unquote bad guy.
Yeah.
Character because it's the one that they focus on Gale Shark as the main Destronger.
At the very least, he's a standout.
Gigatron, Gigatron's like the leader, but he
just kind of mostly sits back in the base. Occasionally shows up at the end of the battle and then laughs.
He's a main character, but he's not like the main bad guy.
Yeah,
that's gonna be Gale Shark, the one we focus on the most.
What was the other thing I was thinking? What surprised me is actually Koji disappears for long periods of time. I thought for sure,
kind of like his dad.
Yeah, but I'm talking, but like a lot of the Transformers stuff when there's the little human sidekicks, they're there constantly. Here he's
he shows up every now and then, but he's not.
Yeah, which is nice because a lot of times the problem is it's like the whole the kids need some human character to latch on to. It's like no, they don't.
Yeah,
and so they really kind of become so overbearing. It's like, can we move back to the robots, please?
Yep. He becomes a lot more important in the last half.
But he's not super there and overbearing, which is nice.
Which is it is nice
because small children can be frustrating in things.
Yes, they can. I thought it was really hilarious there at the end. Well, when they figure out start figuring out the power of the children's spirit, and Yuki, he activated the robot, and his dad goes, "You're not special.
Nobody's special."
Yeah, but I love that. It's just
there's nothing particularly special about you, as in you're not like you don't have cool sick powers or anything like that. You're just a kid.
Let the kid have his chuny face.
Not yet. He's not quite in middle school.
Getting there.
But the other thing was, partway through the series, also Ultra Magnus shows up.
You mean God Magnus?
Ultra Magnus, God Magnus, yeah. But he shows up, right? And he turns out to be the brother of Fire Convoy. And his whole thing, he's jealous because Fire Convoy got an Energon Matrix and he did not. Except, actually, he did.
Except he did.
It was just buried. He wasn't able to use the power of it because he wasn't ready for it. Essentially, he was just too a little self-absorbed for it.
Yeah.
But yeah, the other thing, he was all super strong and stuff, and they try to trick Fire Convoy. He's going to try to basically take over and take control of his body by merging, and that didn't work because turns out Fire Convoy's also got very strong will. And hey, guess what? They're super God Fire Convoy and very, very powerful.
They're like brothers.
Yeah.
Only closer.
Yeah. But then, but in the U.S., he was called Omega Prime, which I think is just a way cooler name than God Fire Convoy. Is like, okay, but Omega Prime sounds way cooler. Just Omega, just because of the word Omega
Prime, yeah.
Because it's like it goes over there. God just usually means real strong.
Yeah.
So you got God Magnus and whatnot.
God Magnus is an interesting character. He kind of acts. I almost wanted to say he was a little Tsum at first.
He's what people call the platonic Tsum.
Yeah. Also, he ends up really close with Speedbreaker, which is weird.
Mike-chan.
Yeah.
It's just kind of. It's like I think it was one of those. Speedbreaker just kind of forced it until Magnus is like, all right. All
yeah, but then
right.
the end is I'm only doing this because Speedbreaker asked me to. It's like,
Yeah. Hmm.
huh.
Yep. Oh, I got a soft spot for him. Oh no, you actually care about people. How horrible.
He's a little too soon about it. Yeah.
Yep. It's not like I like her or anything.
God, Magnus.
Yeah, he's actually pretty cool. Actually, I
He,
kinda like
he
his
is. He
character.
is pretty cool, but
He's like, it's that thing. He's like, he is so confident in himself, and he actually can back it up.
it's one of those like you're overly confident, and to the point of it being a failure.
But
It's a problem, but you're strong enough that no one can really tell you that because you
you actually are backing it up.
you can't start to
You
back
are
it up.
walking the walk. Crap.
You're over talking it to the point where it's a problem, but you can back this up too, so I can't really say no.
Oh, it's frustrating. Ooh.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and the other thing, he has a character arc because he starts off kind of all distant and I'm going to actually I'm going to fight the other Cybertrons because I want to take over. I want to I want to beat Fire Convoy and take over. And then eventually he winds up being part of the team.
Yep. Sort of. He won't admit to it, but he.
Yeah, he's part of the team, but he won't ever say it. And, for his pride, sake of his pride. But
Yeah.
Yeah. The other thing, the old parts, that turns out the old parts is the key to activating Brave Maximus, who, is the enormous Transformer, who's a repaint of Fortress Maximus. They really literally took the old Fortress Maximus from 1987 and repainted him into Brave Maximus.
Brave Maximus.
Yeah, with plasma and Brave and become Brave Maximus.
That was always a weird one. It's like, so you have a Transformer that goes into a Transformer that turns into a head. It's
Headmasters.
Yes, but there are 3 robots.
Yes.
You have Maximus.
Yes.
Then the Transformer that turns into the head. The weird one is the Transformer that turns into a head is not its own thing, and it has a body, a bipedal body that you never see.
Yeah.
Because it only turns into that for a moment so that the smaller plasma can become its head, and then it becomes a head. It's like, okay.
That's left over from the old toy.
Yeah.
Because the old toy was a double headmaster. He had a little headmaster for the head. The headmaster was his own robot. And then that would become a head for Fortress Maximus.
Okay. I just always found it.
Yeah, for years,
weird.
they really decided to just get rid of the middle robot.
Yeah, it's still there. It's like, there's a robot there that we never give a name for, and we never see. It just shows up every now and then during the transformation. Yeah. It's just...
Yeah, so it's just a side effect of reusing an old toy.
So the other thing I want to ask, when we're talking about these big, like, Fortress Maximus or
Brave Maximus,
Maximus or all these really, like, super huge, massive robots, why are they all idiots and it require other pilots? It seems to be a thing. The really, really big robots are like, they have like no self-determination. They're just like dumb robots that require input from other ones. It's like they have no actual sentience or sapience themselves.
I think it's just I think the idea is because they're so powerful, we can't trust this to any one person or something like that. They're not really like actually living beings. They're just essentially just shells waiting for someone else to, in this case, human children specifically.
In this case, plasma is also semi-sentient. Like, doesn't it can operate on its own, but doesn't. It's just
okay. So it's a whole thing with like,
I know it's like it's a trope.
Okay, so
it's not just this one case. I know it's a common trope.
Okay,
it's just kind of
Transformers,
weird.
It was a weird thing because if I remember correctly, originally in G1 it was headmasters. They had the whole subline. Basically, what's the new gimmick? Headmasters. Right. The heads come off and become their own little robots. In the US, the little robot and the big robot were 2 separate characters that merged.
Okay.
The bodies, that whole thing was the bodies where people sacrificed their heads to become these things. So they were actually their own. They could transform into cars or whatever, and they'd still be their own selves. And they had the little quote unquote pilots with the heads, which
yeah. So the robots are just like like mechas.
In Japan, they did a whole different thing where the bodies were just suits. The little heads were the entire robot. The head was the entire character. They would transform the head and plug in, and they control the big thing.
It's like a big
basically mecha with a little extra step. And so that's kind of what you get here. But also they wanted to have that plot line of, has to be, I guess it's actually basically just a weapon. but there has to be some sort of interface, so it has to be able to talk, and I guess that's kind of where we're at.
It just gets really weird.
It's basically the robots are creating their own robots.
Except they do that normally. Like, is that what a Vector Sigma is supposed to be about?
Yeah, Vector Sigma is the god of Transformers, or one of them.
Yeah.
One of them, depending on what you call it.
Yeah, boy.
I mean, even this, there's a little line Gigatron's head, which kind of vaguely alluded to Unicron. That's fun.
That's fun. Things get... The Transformers... Overall Transformers universe and the connected universes get weird.
Because here's the thing, also, Robots in Disguise / Car Robots here was its own thing. Then after it aired, they retconned it into G1. It is now officially part of G1 somehow, even though it doesn't actually make sense.
Yeah.
Because Fire Convoy is not Convoy. He's his own separate character. He's not Optimus. He's not the same guy from G1 who turns into a red semi-truck. He's a completely different character. But somehow he's part of the same universe, even though he's the leader of the Cybertrons.
Yeah,
he's not the leader.
Just don't think about it.
Because this takes place. They try to retcon it into. It takes place between season 2 and 3 of the original G1 cartoon. Because the season 2 was in the 80s, season 3 is in 2000s, and this takes place in the late 90s, early 2000s. And they try to retcon it. It doesn't really make sense, but they retcon it. It's officially part of G1 in Japan. Not in the US, but in Japan, they retconned it in G1, and it doesn't really make sense. Also, apparently, there's some follow-up sequel manga thing where Gigatron becomes a good guy. He redeems himself, and he actually is a whole thing where it's like, what was it? Godfire Convoy, Devil Gigatron, something. The hand mode Gigatron attaches to Godfire Convoy.
Interesting.
Something like that. So that's
just weird because the hand was just about as big as Godfire Convoy was too. But
this from anyway, he also Gigatron became Devil Gigatron through BS. I just absorbed power. He can do that. He can just absorb others' power because he can.
That's just his quirk.
He just can do that. So he becomes Devil Gigatron and becomes white so they can sell another toy.
Yep. Devil Sour or something like that. As you pull out the toy, because of course you do.
Yeah. I have the Devil Gig. Here in the US, he was Megatron and Galvatron, because usual.
Yeah. Can't
call someone a devil here in broadcast standards.
Yeah.
So that's the other thing I want to talk about, because you can't really avoid this particular topic, which is, Car Robots was not supposed to come to the US. Hasbro was just going to ignore it. But they had to cancel, they had a line they were all set to go called Trans-Tech. That was going to be follow-up to Beast Machines, but Beast Machines utterly bombed. So, okay, we get a bailout. They saw that online, a lot of the fans were responding really positive. They were all going nuts over trying to import these new car robot toys because they really like them. So, okay, we're going to bring those over because we have no other toy line right now. The planned toy line has been we're canceling that because it's clear that it's just not resonating. It's not, the market is not responding to it. So they brought it over as Robots in Disguise. The toy line was such a huge success. They had to bring in more toys that weren't part of the Car Robots toy line. They had to bring in a whole bunch. They had to repaint toys and add more toys to keep the things on the shelves.
Right.
The problem was Robots in Disguise. Also, the cartoon, when they brought it over, they dubbed it through Saban, which that created a whole issue. And the first episode premiered on September 8th, 2001.
Oh.
3 days later, 9/11 happened.
And what happens in the first episode?
Megatron in this case crashes through a building. And you see that multiple times buildings get destroyed and you see wrecked buildings and stuff. Yep. They had to do so much editing.
Yep.
Because on top of the usual make it fit for American children's broadcasting standards.
Right.
They now had to remove so much crap. They had to edit lines. I believe the episode that was supposed to air on Wednesday the 12th was pulled because they had a building getting damaged. And so they had to completely rewrite a whole bunch of stuff. They had to adjust some things. There's episodes which were cut down and chopped up. Pieces were replaced, all that stuff. And it was, unfortunately, which was otherwise a promising dub, which kind of got neutered by just real life circumstances. Because it's out there. You can watch the dub and it's actually largely pretty good. And some people actually say if it wasn't for them changing it for 9/11 reasons, it probably would have been better than the original.
So Osama bin Laden ruined Transformers.
Yes.
Okay, got it.
So that was just that the timing was just bad timing, just hurt them real bad. The toy line still did great, and they kind of proved that they were right because later on they do Armada, which they were kind of right, which is we're going to go back to vehicles over animals. And the other thing was in car robots was kind of largely some repaint, some new toys, large, stuff like that, and that's what it was.
Yep.
So it was altered because of just real life circumstances. So in a way that was kind of hurt it a lot, and it's kind of unfortunate because who knows what we would have actually gotten if it wasn't for that.
Some people probably do because they had to change it.
Yeah, someone somewhere has access to the original dub scripts or something.
That would be cool. I wonder how far into how complete those episodes were before they had to change them. I mean, if it happened
Again,
they were releasing when it happened.
Yeah.
They probably have someone go find the old recordings.
Again, there was an episode they had to pull and replace it with a different episode so they could edit that episode.
So someone go find the old archives if they exist.
It's likely most of the dub was done by the time they it was started airing.
Yeah, at least the early ones. Yeah.
So very likely that means the scripting was already probably done. Because
someone find them. Someone find the original archives.
Yeah,
They still exist. That would be kind of neat.
Yeah, a good chunk of them probably just only exist in script form though. Yeah. But since a lot of the voice actors for the show are still voice actors, it wouldn't probably take much.
Hey, I'll give you some money if you say these lines.
It wouldn't take much to redo it, essentially. But the problem is, here's the problem though with that. Legal wise. So like I said, it was done by Saban, right? Saban did the dub. Thing was, several years later, Saban was bought by Disney.
Oh boy. What wasn't bought by Disney?
So but Disney bought Saban for Power Rangers because Saban owned the rights to Power Rangers. Now, several years later, Saban then was able to actually become independent again. And then later, several years later after that, Saban was bought by Hasbro.
Yeah.
So you think, because for a while I was like, well, why don't we have Robots in Disguise on DVD or anything? Because Disney has the distribution rights. So you think, well, don't you own Saban? Does that mean that you have the distribution rights? Well, apparently
not always.
Maybe not. No one's actually confirmed one or the other, but apparently it's possible that as part of Saban becoming independent again, briefly from Disney, they sold them possibly distribution rights to like all the anime they've ever done, which would include Robots in Disguise. So technically, there's a chance. I'm not sure because the problem is I don't think anyone really wants to spend the money to confirm it one way or the other.
Right. That's
there's a chance that Disney essentially owns a small chunk of Transformers. Which doesn't. That's the funny thing is Disney was going to buy Hasbro at one point.
Right.
They were looking to buy Hasbro. If you remember those rumors a while circles.
Yeah, I think I remember
a decade ago. And then all of a sudden, no, we're not. They're not. It's like, turns out, no. They said that was never the case. Disney was never going to buy Hasbro. Turns out they absolutely were in the first phase of it. They're like having lawyers meeting. They're looking into it. And the reason Disney bailed out was, funny enough, because of Transformers. Because they wanted Transformers, because at that point, multi-billion-dollar movie franchise.
Oh, yeah, because that was about the time of the Bayformers movies, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was when Bayformers movies were at their peak.
Yeah.
And on top of that, My Little Pony, which was
yeah.
also the big thing. So they wanted those two big franchises. And Transformers caused them to bail out because Takara Tomy has partial half ownership. The rights are so muddled between Hasbro and Takara Tomy as to who actually owns Transformers. Disney just wanted no part of that and just bailed out.
That's pretty bad when the legal situation scares Disney.
They wanted no part.
People,
that's
Disney
my understanding of things. Is they
it.
wanted no part of that. They did not want to deal with trying to actually, because the co-ownership of between Takara Tomy and Hasbro of Transformers was literally an oral agreement between two men who are now dead. An oral agreement and a handshake.
Yep.
And that's it. There was no actual written contract, apparently. No one wants to, poke that.
Yep.
So it's just we both own it. We're not going to get into specifics, but we just both own it. That's how it works.
There's an old gentleman's agreement.
Yeah, it just existed for 40 years.
That's what we would call it. Is a gentleman's agreement.
Yeah, it's basically a gentleman's agreement that's just kind of propped up a franchise for 40 years.
Yeah.
Because Takara still does a lot of that modern engineering, and Hasbro designs the characters, they make up what's going to be the focus of the toy line, all this stuff. Takara does the engineering and stuff. Because for Takara, Transformers now become a kind of a money pit, because Transformers not very popular in Japan anymore. And particularly, this was an attempt to revitalize Transformers because Beast Wars Neo did terrible because of between I think a mediocre show. I haven't actually watched it, and the toy line, which basically weird designs and very complicated transformations, kind of lost appeal with kids, and they moved on to stuff like Brave, which was a super robot thing, which is probably popular, which influenced car robots. If you notice, they all were calling out attack names regardless, even though they were shooting a gun. Call it the attack name.
I'm gonna punch. My attack name was
Shoulder charge
or fist or yeah.
Yeah, that's a very Super Robot thing.
Yeah,
which was Brave, which influenced car robots. Because Super Robot is this, the mecha genre. Missile. Transformers has always been technically Super Robot, but this was kind of bring Transformers into the modern Super Robot.
Right.
Because mecha genre, you got realistic, quote unquote, realistic mecha, which that's Gundam, stuff like that. But then you got Super Robot, which is Transformers, Gal Gaigar, Gurren Lagann, stuff where it's like more basically the tech is just basically magic. The robot may or may not be alive, but you got stuff like rocket punches and stuff. That's Super Robot.
Right.
It's over the top. Characters just suddenly just have brand new attacks for no good reason. Burning Spirit's the thing, etc., etc. Whereas Gundam, it's war crimes and sadness.
that bit in Promare, yeah.
Yeah.
Thinking that.
That bit, yeah. So that's the thing, is car robots is a weird thing in its own right. It's kind of a weird thing, but also had a massive influence on the franchise going forward, as much as people try to downplay it, because it was like, it's just a flash in the pan, small, kind of okay anime. But it kind of became more than that.
Yeah, it's one of those in isolation. It's not all that much, but it ended up shifting things and being the starting point for everything else.
To a degree.
Yeah.
Like it proved,
sign of the first point where things were shifting.
Yeah, it proved for Hasbro, going back to vehicles is a good idea.
Yeah.
It was also, in the US, it was the first major reboot of the franchise. Because Beast Wars was a continuation of G1, and Beast Machines was a continuation of that. So this is the first time we actually got an actual reboot.
Yeah. This is a brand new line on its own.
Brand new line, brand new continuity, no connection to the other stuff. This is the first time. In Japan, it was also kind of technically the first time, but then was not anymore.
But then it wasn't.
For then Japan, that was the first time they got a real reboot was then Armada, or they call it Micron Legends, which again they went forward with that because Robots in Disguise did particularly Robots in Disguise did really well, so they went forward with Armada for good or for bad, which then also. Because of this is another thing. This other thing this is all led to the Bayformers. Because Speedbreaker / Sideburn turned into clearly a Dodge Viper.
Right.
Although the other molds, they kind of tweaked them a bit, just get away with, they basically get away. We don't have to pay any licensing fees.
Yep.
That one, they couldn't get away with it. Chrysler came at them on, no, if you release that toy without our license, we're going to come after you in court.
Chrysler.
So they licensed the Dodge Viper for real. But because of that, we got talking to the people in the car industry. That led to alternators, which got then more licensing from like Chevy and more from Chrysler and Ford and so on, which then led to them making inroads with GM, which then got it. So hey, we have a major a major partnership for the live action movies.
Yep.
And then we got the live action movies with all the GM cars.
Yep.
So car robots basically
started the trend of.
That's how we got more or less part of the
realistic cars.
That's part of the reason we were able to get live action Transformers, for better or for worse. But live action Transformers brought in a ton of money for the franchise, which meant I got a lot more cool toys.
Yep.
And kind of brought it back into the public consciousness.
Yeah.
In a sense, because people were kind of like, oh yeah, I kind of remember the '80s thing, and then this big explosions happened.
Big explosions. God, I haven't watched all of the Bayformers, some of the
later
later ones.
You probably shouldn't.
Yeah, I think. What was it, Dark of the Moon that I didn't see? I can't remember which ones are which.
Doesn't really matter.
It doesn't. No. I want to say the last of the Bayformers that I watched had the one where they were trying to make their own Transformers and had like the nano.
That's the fourth one.
Yeah, the one with the Rainbow Dash turns into a gun.
Yeah, Age of Extinction.
Yeah.
That's the one.
The Dinobots show up in that one?
That's Dinobots.
The first
the thing that Michael Bay said, I will never ever do Dinobots, are stupid.
And then, well, there we go. And then they became more important later on in some of the later movies, didn't they?
No.
Okay, they were supposed to, but didn't.
No.
Oh.
They just like basically made a cameo on the fifth one, and that was it.
Oh.
It's like, okay.
Well, I could have sworn that, or was it not a Bayformers, but another Transformers one where they were really focusing on. No, it wasn't the No, I'm getting mixed. It wasn't the dinosaurs. It was the Beast Wars references. They were starting to do Beast Wars stuff, weren't they?
Beast Wars is the last one.
Yeah,
Most
the
recent
latest one has
it's heavy
Primal,
Beast Wars,
basically.
and it may or may not be part of the same continuity depending on who you ask. There's that one producer who keeps
But it's
lying.
a big gorilla robot, so it's obviously referencing it at least.
Well, Rise of the Beast is very much influenced on Beast Wars for
Yeah.
sure. It's like basically let's bring Beast Wars in this, but it's like, is it the same continuity as Bayformers?
Yeah, because it's not Bay, is it?
No, he's producer, but he's not directing.
Okay.
That's the whole
Yeah,
thing.
we're getting away from the anime.
Transformers is a very fun franchise to talk about.
There's
a lot.
So much.
There's so much there, and also has one of the best wikis out there. Even though the wiki
the
unfortunately
TF
had
wiki.
their wiki also has had an unfortunate tendency for a long time, just kind of crap all over anything Japanese from this franchise, which is kind of funny when you think about it. Yeah, because a lot of the early wiki stuff was very much written out that everything from Japan is terrible.
Yep.
So they're very much just didn't care. They all the stuff for like stuff like this was like very brief, and it was all very much the American focus. Anything brought in is always the American or the Hasbro versions and whatnot. So they're getting better about that, and they're finally like some of it was also very unfortunately there's some very much also some fun little bits of homophobia that they fixed because
Yep.
yeah
Made by a bunch of old people.
yeah but anyway, Car Robots itself. Nothing particularly special, but also if you're into Transformers, I think it's actually probably one of the better ones, just because at the very least it kind of acknowledges this whole thing is kind of silly and
It is
just
kind of
just have
silly.
fun, okay?
Yeah.
It's basically it's just kind of let's just have fun, okay? And there's nothing deep in there. It's nothing is don't watch.
Oh,
it
it's
for
not
anything.
deep at all.
There's nothing deeper particularly compelling. It's just a fun, goofy romp.
Yeah.
That's all.
But
it is.
also,
there's nothing.
it's made for kids.
It's made for children, and it's
So
also
don't
not like
hold it to too high of a standard.
yeah, it's not particularly bad or anything either.
Yeah.
That's the thing. It's just it's pretty all right. And the fact that pretty all right is one of the better things from Transformers tells you a lot about Transformers.
Remember, no one hates Transformers more than Transformers fans.
One other one I've been saying which is I've never seen a fan base so willingly to admit to have such a deep abiding love for a franchise, but also willing to acknowledge that most of the franchise media output is garbage.
It's garbage. Why do you love it so much? I don't know.
It's cool robot toys.
It's a cool robot.
Yeah. Wow, cool robot.
Wow,
But
cool
unironically.
Literally, that's all it is.
Unironically in this case.
Unironically, wow, cool robot.
The other thing, okay, so how do you watch it? Legally you don't.
Yeah, it's not available anywhere legally now.
I'll say this though. It's not hard to find on YouTube. Either version, Car Robots or Robots in Disguise. They're both out there and in good quality and the entire run. And they've been there for years and no one seems to want to take them down. So they're out there. Just look for it. You'll find them.
Yeah.
We're not going to link to it because
Yeah.
culpability.
It's what, 36 episodes?
39.
39 episodes?
But the thing is,
Yeah.
3 of the episodes are clip episodes.
Yeah, I know. So it's like,
13, 26, and 35 are clip episodes.
yep. Just kind of skip through those ones. Yep. Got it. Next.
Although I will say that in this case, the clip episodes are kind of fun because like they almost feel like they took the voice actors through them and was like, okay, just go goof off.
Yeah. There is that
There
part.
is that
They do
fun.
get
There's
to
a
have
lot of
little bit
goofing.
fun,
There is a lot
but-
of they're just goofing on each other.
Yeah.
Yeah, just having one of the Combatrons kind of going, maybe I should go and join the good guys. And then, what? Are you going to? No, never mind.
Nope.
Oh, wait, maybe not. But maybe, no.
No.
So, yeah.
Anything else?
I don't know. It's fun.
I mean, a couple other things I've noticed. So ones I think it's rather funny that the civilians seem rather accepting of.
Blasé about it.
Yeah, it's just like, oh yeah, there's big giant robots that keep destroying our cities. Yeah,
Don't worry about
okay, it's just another day.
Well,
It's
it's just like,
Tuesday,
it's just
I
like
guess.
Godzilla. Godzilla shows, oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we got to get, I got to run and scream for a bit, but after a while, he'll go away and we'll be back to normal.
One thing I noticed, the Strongers have a different phrase for when they
Yeah,
transform.
Henshin,
Henshin, this fan subs.
metamorphosize.
Yeah, as opposed to transform, because
Transform!
except the Combatrons use transform.
Yep, because they're vehicles.
Right. But also, I guess because they were Cybertron, maybe.
Yeah, they were also Cybertrons.
So it's kind of it brings that.
That's
over,
the other
so
thing
they
I want to
keep
also mean.
using that one.
In this continent in Japan, it's not Cybertron as in the planet. It's Sabertron.
Saber with an say.
Yep.
Sabertron.
Just to throw things a little more out of whack in case you're used to American Transformers.
Also, isn't the robots transforming just magical girl transformations? Isn't that just a magical girl transformation?
Yeah. I mean, depending on how you want to.
Not really, but I think it's funny to think
I did
about.
double check on that because I think Transformers might predate a lot of that stuff.
I know it's different, but I'm going to say it's the same because I also know that that's going to piss a lot of people off, and it's funny.
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of Transformers fans that get mad at their girl Transformers at all, so hey. Oh, yeah, there's another thing.
Oh, yeah,
The hologram girl, she exists.
Yeah, Ai's great.
Yeah, she's kind of fun.
Same voice actor as the unfortunate girl. What was her name?
All right.
Junko. Yeah.
Yep.
Same voice actor.
Yeah.
There's a few of those.
Apparently,
just use the same.
They also did a thing in the Legends manga where it's like, oh, actually, turns out Ai there was actually based off a scan of a real policewoman.
Interesting.
And then they brought her into Transformers in the Legends manga. All right, and so and also there is a small connection to Kiss players.
Oh God.
Very small. They reuse some characters, but nothing beyond that. It's not like because Kiss players is also technically G1 in Japan.
We'll just ignore the fact that one exists.
Yeah, that was a thing. Don't worry about it too much. Don't think about it too much, okay?
There's some interesting ones. They very quickly established that Ai is a hologram and has no physical body because what's the kid's name again?
Yuki.
Yuki.
Koji.
Yeah. Koji just kind of walks through her.
Yuki. Yeah. Koji. Yuki. Yeah.
Koji. Yuki. It's Yuki yeah. Just walks through. It's like it doesn't. Except she physically uses the buttons. She walks over to the control panel and hits buttons.
Sometimes she's a heart-like construct. Sometimes not.
And I noticed near the end, probably did it a few other times. Kuji, Yuki, whatever, actually grabs her arm a few times. It's like, but you couldn't do it.
Hard-like.
Sometimes she is. Sometimes she's corporeal.
Yeah.
Sometimes she's not.
Yeah.
Just girl things.
Yeah, I think she might have. Well, they're all freaked out because at one point she might almost could have died, but they're like, it's like it makes sense because for them it's like she's just a program. Yeah, so are they technically.
So are they?
Robots.
Yeah.
For them it's like she's a little bit more real. She just doesn't have a body.
Yeah.
I think that's it really. We kind of went really long on this, actually, surprisingly.
You had a lot to say.
Surprisingly long.
There's a lot of things to say about Transformers, and you could go on for ages about it.
Because that's the other thing. Because that was my thing. Was like I didn't sure how to do Headmasters in general because it's a sequel to an American kind of quote American cartoon. I say quote unquote because there's a whole muddy thing there.
Yeah.
His original G1 anime, maybe. Kind of depends on who you ask and what your parameters are.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's a fun thing.
What is and isn't an anime as a topic.
So let's
I
do this
think
one.
we'll end it there.
Standalone. Again, it's fun. It's kind of fun, but nothing particularly amazing. So there you go.
Yep.
So that's it for this. I hope you enjoyed it. If you liked what you heard, you can listen to past and future episodes on newtoweeaboo.libsyn.com, spelled Libusyn. Episodes will be listed there as they come out. You can subscribe to the RSS feed there. And also you can find us on other websites, including Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, and Amazon Podcasts. Most of those are also buttons at the top, most of those. And you can subscribe via that way or search for us on those services and you'll find us and subscribe do that. And of course you can email us at newtoweeaboo@gmail.com if you have any questions or comments or anime recommendations or what have you. Or of course you can follow us on various social media. It's there on newtoweeaboo.libsyn.com/contact. So if you can, follow us on the social media. And from there you can also find our personal things if you're into this. Again, I do Transformers reviews. So if you like Transformers.
I don't post much.
Yeah. You just post Tetos.
I retweet a lot of Teto art.
Yes. And sometimes Miku.
There
you go. So that's it for this one. Join us next time. We'll be watching the original Ghost in the Shell movie.
Yeah, we go finally talk about that one.
Yeah, it's one of those, the big ones.
It's
one of the big ones.
It's a very big one.
It's one of the big ones. Not the series.
Not the series.
Not Standalone Complex.
Yep,
so
the
no
first
Laughing
movie.
Man. It's the movie.
Ghost in the Shell.
Yes, that one.
Yep.
We will probably do Standalone Complex at some point. In the
Yeah,
future,
we
but
might get to those later.
take care of yourselves. It's, spring's soon, I think, considering the weather.
Oh, yeah. No, we're entering false. We got through fake spring. We're into second winter. And we're about to start false spring. And then we'll get a third winter before we get to actual spring.
Spring's supposed to be here by the end of the month. So, yeah, have your fun times with that. And
we had a whole bunch of ice come out of the sky this morning. So
keep warm until, I guess, things start warming up.
Just
and
Pacific Northwest things.
Yeah. There you go.
Yep. Have fun.
Have fun, and we'll see you next time. So, goodbye.
Bye.